Hello students, welcome to Educate. Today we'll be studying the third part of the third chapter of your themes in world history और जिस चैप्टर का नाम था किनशिप कास्ट एंड क्लास 12 NCERT. सो अप अंटिल नाउ पार्ट 1 एंड पार्ट 2 में हम ये समझ चुके हैं कि वैदिक सोसाइटीज, वेदास, स्क्रिप्चर्स, एंशिएंट टेक्स्ट्स, किनशिप, एंडोगमी, एक्सोगमी, different wives Satvahana rulers had, polygamy the practice, exogamy and endogamy, इन दोनों के बीच में differences, चांडाल्स, जातीज, वर्णास कैसे एक दूसरे से डिफरेंट होते थे एंड इनको रेजिस्टेंस अगर कोई देखने को मिली या नहीं, ऑल्सो अलोंग विद द टेल ऑफ मतंगा, द बोधिसत्वा और बेसिकली बुद्धा इन हिज प्रीवियस बर्थ. So moving on, beyond birth and resource and status. Now, अब हमें क्या समझने की जरूरत है इसमें कि जो इकोनॉमिक रिलेशनशिप्स थे in chapter 2 as we have studied, we will realize that slaves, landless agricultural laborers, hunters, fisherfolk, pastoralists, peasants, village herdmen, craftspersons, merchants, and kings emerged as social actors in different parts of the subcontinent. ठीक है, पूरे सबकॉन्टिनेंट में ये अपना एक स्पेसिफिक रोल इनका होता था. एंड जातीज एज वी हैव स्टडीड इन द प्रीवियस चैप्टर, जैसे स्वर्णकार कम्युनिटी थी, some way like that we can consider that different such categories or social categories were also prevalent at that point in time. Okay, so their social positions were often shaped by their access to economic resources. Here we will examine social implications of access to resources in certain specific situations. Now, access to resources as the Mlechas and the undesired or basically untouchable extremely lowest state of the society, और which were जो नई जातियां थी जो वैदिक फोल्ड के टोटली बाहर आती थी, लोएस्ट फॉर्म था फॉर एग्जांपल द चांडाल्स. It is pretty obvious that they did not have the access to resources as equally as the civilized strata had. For example, clothes, shelter, food, इन सब की भी बात करें तो चांडालों को अलग सिस्टम से चलना होता था, as we have studied here. Okay, gendered access to property. Patrilineal society, even though matrilineal mentions and traces have also been found in the Satvahana dynasty at the same time. ठीक है, मोस्ट कॉमन वॉज पेट्रिलिनियल. इवन महाभारत में जो वॉर हुई थी वो भी पेट्रिलिनियल फॉर्म ऑफ सक्सेशन का एक बहुत बड़ा एग्जाम्पल है. ओके, कंसिडर फर्स्ट अ क्रिटिकल एपिसोड इन द महाभारत. ड्यूरिंग द कोर्स ऑफ द लॉन्ग ड्रॉन rivalry between the Kauravas and the Pandavas, okay, Duryodhan invited Yudhishthir to a game of die. The latter, who was deceived by his rival, staked his gold, elephants, chariots, slaves, army, treasury, kingdom, the property of his subjects, his brothers, and finally himself, and lost all. Okay, महाभारत में युधिष्ठिर ने बेट लगाई थी, जुआ खेला था, अपने पूरे खानदान को, अपने आप को, अपने भाइयों को, द्रौपदी को भी लगा चुका था वो दाव पे. ओके, देन ही स्टेक्ड द कॉमन वाइफ द्रौपदी एंड लॉस्ट हर टू. ओके, स्लेवरी उस टाइम पे प्रेवलेंट थी, गुलाम होते थे, दास, दासियां, एज वी हैव ऑल्सो सीन व्हेनेवर मेंशंस आर बीइंग मेड टू द एंशिएंट एपिक. ये टर्मिनोलॉजीज we do come across. Okay, issues of ownership foregrounded in stories such as this one also figure in Dharma Sutras and the Dharma Shastras. Okay, source 11, Draupadi's question. इस source की बात हो रही है, which we look at here. Draupadi is supposed to have asked Yudhishthir whether he had lost himself before staking her. To contrary, Opinions were expressed in response to this question. द्रौपदी ने युधिष्ठिर से पूछा कि मुझे दांव पे लगाने से पहले क्या तुमने अपने आप को दांव पे लगाया, और नहीं लगाया तो क्यों नहीं लगाया? Okay, so here one, that even if Yudhishthir had lost himself earlier, his wife remained under his control, so he could stake her. फिर भी वो उसे दाव पे लगा सकता था क्योंकि वाइफ उसके कंट्रोल में थी, एज ऑफ लाइक इन पोजेशन सिमिलर टू दैट ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी. ओके. टू, दैट एन अनफ्री मैन एज युधिष्ठिर was when he had lost himself could not stake another person. वो खुद हार जाता तो वो किसी और को दाव पे नहीं लगा पाता, and that would have been the end of the game. So these two explanations were given by Yudhishthir when the question was asked by Draupadi. The matter remained unresolved. Ultimately, Dhritarashtra restored to the Pandavas and Draupadi their personal freedom. धृतराष्ट्र ने फिर भी फ्रीडम दे दी थी. ओके. Also figure in the Dharma Sutras and the Dharma Shastras. Source 11. According to the Manusmriti, the paternal estate was to be divided equally amongst sons after the death of the parents, with a special share for the eldest. Women could not claim a share for these resources. अब ये जो resources थी ये भाइयों में आपस में बंटता था, बहनों के लिए इसमें कोई रोल नहीं था. Alright? However, women were allowed to retain the gifts they received on the occasion of their marriage as stridhan. Important term. Stridhan, right here. Literally, which means woman's wealth. This could be inherited by their children without the husband having any claim on it. Without the husband, okay, without the husband having any claim on it. Big, ये बहुत बड़ी चीज है. उस टाइम पे ये एक right according to the Manusmriti was provided to the women. At the same time, the Manusmriti warned women against hoarding family property or even their own valuables without the husband's permission. Even then, okay, warned women for some reason. Okay, you have read about wealthy women such as the Vakataka queen Prabhavati Gupta, chapter 2 में जिनके बारे में हमने अशोकन इंस्क्रिप्शन हमें देखने को मिला था, similar tale. Okay. However, cumulative evidence, both epigraphic and textual, suggests that while upper class women may have had access to resources like land, cattle, and money, were generally controlled by men. Access था लेकिन control आदमियों के पास ही होता था. Okay? In other words, social differences between men and women were sharpened because of the differences in access to the resources. All right? Very important. Differences in the access to resources. मतलब कि जो एक common resource है वो भी without the husband's permission cannot get passed on or cannot be used for the own will and whim according to the woman. This is something that we notice here. प्रभावती गुप्ता के केस में भी जो एविडेंस अवेलेबल है, एपिग्राफिक एंड टेक्सचुअल, बोथ ऑफ देम, ये सजेस्ट करते हैं कि अपर क्लास वुमेन के पास एक्सेस था टू लैंड, कैटल, रिसोर्सेज, व्हाटएवर वाज जनरेटेड, बट द कंट्रोल वाज देयर विद द मेन. ओके. So moving on. How could men and women acquire wealth? पैसा कैसे कमाते थे उस टाइम पे लोग? बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. You must know the ways or different types through which wealth could be acquired. Okay? For men, the Manusmriti declares there are 7 means of acquiring wealth. आदमियों के लिए 7 तरीके हैं पैसा कमाने के अकॉर्डिंग टू द मनुस्मृति. इनहेरिटेंस, बाप दादा का पैसा. फाइंडिंग, या तो आपको कहीं मिल जाए. परचेज, कहीं से खरीदा हुआ. कॉन्क्वेस्ट, यानी कि कब्जा करना. इन्वेस्टमेंट, कहीं पे इन्वेस्ट किया और फिर मिला. वर्क, काम करके सैलरी बेसिस. एंड एक्सेप्टेंस ऑफ गिफ्ट्स फ्रॉम गुड पीपल. गिफ्ट्स रिसीव करना, अगर कोई आपको गिफ्ट दे रहा है तो वो भी एक तरीका था सोर्स का ऑफ acquiring wealth. Okay? For women, there are 6 means of acquiring wealth. For men, 7. For women, 6. Another point to be noted, this was given in front of the fire marriage or the bridal procession, or as a token of affection and what she got from her brother, mother or father. She could also acquire wealth through any subsequent gift and whatever her affectionate husband might give her. Okay? Father, mother, brother or husband, जो भी husband देना चाहे उस हिसाब से. Alright? So these are the different ways, or were the different ways as mentioned in the Manusmriti for both men and women to acquire wealth. Okay? Varn and access to property. सॉरी, अब जो वर्ण होता था वो और उनका जो एक्सेस था प्रॉपर्टी पे, वो कैसे होता था. ऑल राइट. अकॉर्डिंग टू द ब्राह्मणिकल टेक्स्ट्स, अनदर क्राइटेरियन अपार्ट फ्रॉम जेंडर फॉर रेगुलेटिंग एक्सेस टू वेल्थ वॉज वर्ण. वर्ण एक बहुत इजी तरीका था वेल्थ को एक्सेस करने के लिए, उसको अक्यूमुलेट और एक्वायर करने के लिए भी. हाउ? एज वी सॉ अर्लियर, द ओनली ऑक्यूपेशन प्रिस्क्राइब्ड फॉर शूद्रस वाज सर्विट्यूड और सर्फडम, while a variety of occupations were listed for men of the first 3 varnas. So basically, the Shudras did not have ample of options to look for while going out in the case of occupation. Meanwhile, the first 3 classes जो कि थे ब्राह्मण्स, क्षत्रियस एंड वैश्यस, इनके पास जो वैरायटी थी, जो ऑप्शंस थे, वो कहीं ज्यादा थे फॉर डिफरेंट प्रोफेशंस. शूद्रस एंड फॉर द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली इफ यू लुक एट आउटकास्ट्स, म्लेच्छास, उनके लिए तो ना बराबर ही थी. इवन देन द न्यू जातिज विच वर नॉट टोटली एक्सक्लूडेड, क्राफ्ट्समैन, आर्टिजन्स, वी हैड स्वर्णकार्स, इनके लिए क्राइटेरिया अलग था, क्योंकि इनके लिए वेल्थ एक्वायर करने का तरीका बोथ इनहेरिटेंस एंड वर्क वाज एन ऑप्शन. ओके, सो the only option for the Shudras was servitude. If these provisions were actually implemented, the wealthiest men would have been the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas. That this corresponded to some extent with social realities is evident from descriptions of priests and kings in other textual traditions. Okay? Kings are almost invariably depicted as wealthy. Priests are also generally shown to be rich, though there are occasional depictions of the poor Brahmin. Sudama, for example. सुदामा और कृष्ण की कहानी तो सबने सुनी है. तो बेसिकली ये कहना चाह रहा है कि वेल्थ एक्वायर करने का तरीका इतना डिफरेंट था, तो इस हिसाब से ब्राह्मण्स और क्षत्रियस और वैश्यस को हाईएस्ट पोजीशन पे होना चाहिए, which is even in the contemporary world true. Almost all of the royal families that exist in India today are Kshatriyas, one of the richest. Vaishyas, Banyas, like the Ambani family is also another case. So it further proves the point that during ancient times, the Shudras, the outcasts, had basically very little or minimal access to the resources that were there. And the options that were provided for them to acquire wealth were also extremely limited. Okay? So, at another level, even as the Brahmanical view of the society was codified. Codification का क्या मतलब होता है? Codified means written down, and basically it is implemented in a way that is pretty straightforward, official. Okay? In the Dharma Sutras and Dharma Shastras, other traditions developed critiques of the Varna order. अब critical thinking वर्ण ऑर्डर को लेकर के आने लगी. कहां से? उस codified Dharma Sutras and the Dharma Shastras, other traditions developed. दूसरे traditions भी rise हो रहे थे. Different way of worshipping or different forms of religion were now critiquing the Varna system. How? Some of the best known of these were developed within early Buddhism. Okay, the introduction of Buddhism, 6th century BC onwards. Okay, the critique to Brahmanism, right here. All right, critique to Brahmanism. The Buddhists recognized that there were differences in society, but did not regard these as natural or inflexible. Okay, they also rejected the idea of claims to status on the basis of birth. So, here to here, this is your answer. अगर इस पे क्वेश्चन आता है कि what was the core theory of Buddhism, what did it focus around and what did it aim towards, this is the introduction to your answer. आपका आंसर इसी पे बेस्ड होगा. This is how your answer should start. Okay? So birth के बेसिस पे नहीं था, differences को वो मानते थे, good and evil, but at the same time it was not based on birth. Okay? Moving on, the Wealthy Sutra. So this is from a Buddhist text in Pali known as Majjhima Nikaya. Alright? Is a part of a dialogue between a king named Avantiput and a disciple of the Buddha named Kachan. While it may not be literally true, it reveals Buddhist attitudes towards Varna. अब ये जो टेल है हो सकता है हिस्टोरिकली एक्यूरेट हो या ना हो, बट व्हाट दिस स्टोरी focuses on is the attitude of the Buddhist philosophy towards this Varna structure. All right. So moving forward, Avantiput asked Kachan that he thought about what he thought about Brahmins. Brahmins के बारे में क्या सोचता है? Okay. Who held that they were the best caste and that all other castes were low. बाकी सारी कास्ट नीचे थी, सिर्फ ब्राह्मण सबसे ऊपर माने गए थे. All right, that only Brahmins were pure, that non-Brahmins, that Brahmins were the sons of Brahma, born out of his mouth, born of Brahma, formed by Brahma, heirs to Brahma, मतलब ब्रह्मा से उनकी उत्पत्ति हुई है, ब्रह्मा के मुख से, एंड देयर द heirs या फिर उनकी जो ब्लड लाइन है वो ब्रह्मा की है. ओके, द क्रिएटर ऑफ द यूनिवर्स, वन ऑफ द Trimurtis or major gods in Hindu religion. Kachan replied, what if a Shudra were wealthy? Would another Shudra or a Kshatriya or a Brahman or a Vaishya speak politely to him? ये क्वेश्चन पूछा था कच्छन ने. Avantiput replied that if a Shudra had wealth or corn or gold or silver, he could have as his obedient servant another Shudra to get up earlier than he, to go to rest later, to carry out his orders, to speak politely, or he could even have a Kshatriya or a Brahman or a Vaishya as his obedient servant. Kachan asked, this being so, are not these four varnas exactly the same? ठीक है, अगर सब पैसे से ही है तो उसने पूछा सब सेम तो नहीं. Avantiputra conceded that there was no difference amongst the varnas on his count. Okay, all about social power, social structure, and who ruled over it. Okay, an alternative social scenario: sharing wealth. All right, so far we have been examining situations where people either claimed or were assigned status on the basis of their wealth. ठीक है? However, there were other possibilities as well. Situations where men who were generous were respected, while those who were miserly or simply accumulated wealth for themselves were despised. One area where these values cherished was ancient Tamilakam, okay, where, as we saw earlier in chapter 2, there were several chiefdoms around 2000 years ago. Amongst other things, the chiefs were patrons of bards and poets who sang their praise. Poems included in the Tamil Sangam anthologies often illuminate social and economic relationships, suggesting that while there were differences between the rich and the poor, those who control resources were also expected to share them. Basically, जो तमिलकम, the area of southern India, वहाँ पे जो wealth sharing का एक culture था, ज़्यादा common था as compared to the northern plains or the northern region of the subcontinent. How? Because वहाँ पे chiefdoms थे, chiefs होते थे, जो कि 2000 different chiefdoms थे, not ruled by a single ruler particularly, but they were patrons of art, music and poems, artisans. तो जो भी उनके पास परफॉर्म करने आते थे उनको वो साथ के साथ ही डोनेट करते थे और अपनी वेल्थ उनके साथ शेयर भी करते थे. ऑलराइट, द पुअर जेनरस चीफ. कमिंग टू हियर, in this composition from the Puranururu, one of the anthologies of poems of the Tamil Sangam literature, somewhere around the 1st century Common Era, a bard describes his patron to other poets. Thus, he, that is the patron, doesn't have the wealth to lavish on others every day, nor does he have the pettiness to say that he has nothing and so refuse. He lives in Irantai, a place that is generous. He is an enemy to the hunger of the bards. If you wish to cure your poverty, come along with me, bards whose lips are so skilled. Okay? If we request him, showing him our ribs thin with hunger, he will go to the blacksmith of his village and will say to the man of powerful hands, shape me a long spear of war, one that has a straight blade. So donations to the bards in southern region was something commonly seen at that time. Okay? Explaining social differences, a social contract per se. Now, अब एक सोशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की बात हो रही है यहाँ पे कि बुद्धिस्ट एंड ब्राह्मणिकल वे में किस तरीके से सोसाइटी कंडक्ट करी जाती थी, एंड व्हाट वर द माइनर डिफरेंसेस which later turned on to major differences between the philosophies of the two. The Buddhists also developed an alternative understanding of social inequalities, ठीक है, and of the institutions required to regulate social conflict. In a myth found in a text known as the Sutta Pitaka, they suggested that originally human beings did not have fully evolved bodily forms, nor was the world of plants fully developed. All beings lived in an idyllic state of peace, taking taking from nature only what they needed for each meal. So, जो alternate understanding है एक बुद्धिस्ट philosophy की towards humanity, towards resources and social differences, the Buddhist, according to the Sutta Pitaka, one of the Buddhist scriptures, वो ऐसा स्टेट करता है कि एक टाइम पे सारा यूनिवर्स यूज्ड टू बी वन व्हेन ह्यूमन बीइंग्स वर नॉट इन द एग्जैक्ट फॉर्म एज दे आर इन नाउ, ब्लेंडेड था इन नेचर, एंड वी ओनली seeked something from nature when we needed it, not more than that, not less than that, for each meal. Okay? However, there was a gradual deterioration of this state as human beings became increasingly greedy, vindictive and deceitful. धीरे धीरे इंसान का नेचर बदलता गया according to the Buddhist texts. Okay? So this led them to wonder, what if we were to select a certain king, certain being, who should be wrathful when indignation is right, who should ensure that which should rightly be censured and should ambush him and should banish him who deserves to be banished. Okay? We will give him in return a proportion of the rice chosen by the whole people. He will be known as Mahasmatta, the great elect. So this was the way in which Buddhists ने बोला कि कौन इसके आंसर्स ढूंढ सकता है, जो भी ढूंढ पाएगा उसको हम अपने बीच में से इलेक्ट करके महास्मत्ता डिक्लेयर करेंगे. This suggests that the institution of kinship was based on human choice, with taxes as a form of payment for services rendered by the king. At the same time, it reveals recognition of human agency in creating and institutionalizing economic and social relations as well. So this new Buddhist fold system of finding solutions to these different categories of the society is something very important that we have to look at right now. बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है इसको समझना. Okay? At the same time, and there are other implications as well. For instance, if human beings were responsible for the creation of the system, they could also change it in the future. अगर system humans बना सकते हैं, तो with time in the future, it can also be altered or changed. Okay? Now, handling texts, historians and the Mahabharata. Now, if you look through the sources cited in this chapter, once more you will notice that historians consider several elements when they analyze texts. They examine whether texts were written in Prakrit, Pali or Tamil, languages that were probably used by ordinary people, or in Sanskrit, a language meant almost exclusively for priests and elites. They also consider the kinds of texts. Were these mantras learnt and chanted by ritual specialists, or stories that people could have read or heard and then retold if they found them interesting? मतलब ये जो texts थे, ये जो संस्कृत में वर्ड्स लिखे हुए थे, क्या वो प्योरली रिचुअल्स के लिए थे? उनका मोटिव क्या था? व्हाट वाज द रीजन बिहाइंड देम? एंड उसके पीछे का इंटेंशन क्या है उसको राइट करने का, क्या वो सिर्फ रिचुअल्स के लिए थे या फिर वो टेल्स थी जो आगे जाकर के थ्रू जनरेशंस पास ऑन होते रहे और फिर जनरेशन टू जनरेशन उसे रिपीट किया जा सके. ऑलराइट. Besides, they try to find out about the authors whose perspectives and ideas shape the text, as well as the intended audience, as very often authors keep the interests of the audience in mind while composing their work. Basically, ये जो text लिखे गए, टारगेट ऑडियंस या एनी ऑडियंस दैट वाज केप्ट इन माइंड एट दैट टाइम, किसको सोच करके लिखा गया था. ऑलराइट. सो एंड दे ट्राई एंड असर्टन द पॉसिबल डेट ऑफ द कॉम्पोजिशन और कोरिलेशन और composition or compilation of the texts, as well as the place where they may have been composed. Okay. It is only after making these assessments they come to draw on the context of the texts to arrive at an understanding of their historical significance. As you can imagine, this is a particularly difficult task for a text as complex as of the Mahabharata. Now, महाभारत को इतना कॉम्प्लेक्स टेक्स्ट क्यों बोला गया है, ये टर्म क्यों दी गई है? Firstly, it is extremely complicated because of the numbers, the number of characters present in the tale, the elaborate succession and the lineage that one needs to understand before comprehending the text. जो पूरा कुटुंब है, कौरव, पांडव, the families, how they पहले उन्होंने क्या vows लिए थे, what vows did they go through, what promises did they make or break, which eventually led to this particular battle happening. A lot of very small incidents which happen to be interconnected in a very complex manner is something. So it is a very complex text indeed. And what was the significance of it and what was the intention while writing the same saga, and what was it intended for? Ritualistic purposes, learning, or what else? So language and content. Here we will learn about this. Let us look at the language of the text. अब ये जो text लिखा गया था, language सबको पता है, संस्कृत, and later on Pali, Prakrit, and different translations were also available for the same. But this version of the Mahabharata, we have been considering it is in Sanskrit. ठीक है, सबसे important बात, हम इसे संस्कृत में ही मान के चलते हैं, क्योंकि सबसे one of the oldest versions that is available of the same saga is in Sanskrit also, Sanskrit only. Although there are versions in other languages as well, बाकी languages में भी इसके अलग-अलग versions हैं. However, Sanskrit used in the Mahabharata is far simpler than that of the Vedas. जो वेदों में संस्कृत लिखी हुई है, महाभारत में लिखी हुई संस्कृत से थोड़ी different है. Because if we look at Rigved for example, कौशिक की नैतरीय ब्राह्मण, या फिर अगर हम आयुर्वेद को देखें, so जो one of the main sages who are attributed towards the Rigved are sage Angiras, Angrishi. Alright? Agni Sukt, Apaha Sukt also being one of the texts. For example, Agni Sukt आपको बता देते हैं, अग्नि मीले पुरोहितम यज्ञस्सम देवम ऋत्विजम होतारम रत्नधातमम. ये अग्नि सूक्त का पहला स्टैंजा है. लास्ट राजविस्त्राणम घरम विस्त्राणम दिवे दिविम वर्धमानम स्वदमे. ये दो जो एंथ्रोपोलॉजीज हैं, जो एक ट्रांसलेशन अगर हम देखने की कोशिश करें इन दोनों संस्कृत टेक्स्ट्स की, दे एक्सप्लेन द इमर्जेंस ऑफ फायर टू बी समथिंग वेरी यूनिवर्सल, समथिंग दैट रन्स द वर्ल्ड एंड रेन्स सुप्रीम, hence deserves to be worshipped. सेम टाइम पे अगर हम अपाह सुक्त देखें, अपाहिष्ठा मयो बवस्ता तनोर्जेत दातना महरणात चिक्षसे. तो ये जो दूसरा एक एग्जाम्पल हम देखते हैं अपाह सुक्त का, states the same about water, how essential water is along with its molecules, its subparticles, even the minute ones, how important and necessary they are for the human survival. So that is why Vedic language over here is considered as something very different from the Sanskrit used in Mahabharata. Okay? Excuse me. However, as I've mentioned here, Sanskrit in Mahabharata is way simpler. Alright? All of the Prashastis discussed in chapter 2 as such was also widely understood. Now, historians usually classify the contents of the present text under two broad heads. दो कैटेगरीज में इस टेक्स्ट का जो सब डिविजन है किया जाता है. फर्स्ट, सेक्शंस that contain stories designated as the narrative, and sections that contain prescriptions about social norms designated as didactic. What is didactic? Refers to something that is meant for purposes of instruction. ठीक है, जिसका पर्पस है इंस्ट्रक्ट करने का, लेस ऑफ अ हिस्ट्री, मोर ऑफ अ लर्निंग लेसन, उसे डिडैक्टिक कहते हैं. आपको कुछ सिखाना चाह रहा है, जरूरी नहीं जो इसमें लिखा है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल पंचतंत्र की जो स्टोरीज हैं, दैट कुड बी ऑल्सो कंसिडर्ड एज द सेम. सच में कोई चूहा राजा नहीं था जंगल में जैसे स्टोरीज होती हैं, आपको लिटरली ऐसे समझने की जरूरत नहीं है. दैट इज वाई डिडैक्टिक. ऑलराइट, दिस डिविजन इज बाय नो मीन्स watertight. Okay, the didactic sections include stories, and the narrative often contains a social message. Why? Very important. This division is by no means watertight. The didactic sections include stories. Stories होती है didactic sections में, and the narrative, the lesson behind it, often contains a social message. However, generally historians agree that the Mahabharata was meant to be a dramatic, moving story, and that the didactic portions were probably added later. So this was a dramatic, moving story, थोड़ी dramatic थी, kind of like a literature, to make people understand about the social norms, righteousness, क्या उनको करना चाहिए ideally अपनी lives में, and that as well. So looking at the diagram here, Krishna advises Arjun on the battlefield. ये उसकी पेंटिंग है, ये आप देख सकते हैं, excerpt from the Mahabharata. यहाँ पे गीता का उपदेश दिया जा रहा है, and which was the Bhagavad Gita, the divine revelation of the word from the so-called God. Okay. So before moving, यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं लॉर्ड गणेशा in his red सिद्धि विनायक form. His tusk is towards the left, and ये पर्शियन या अरेबिक में बनवाई गई थी. इसमें नीचे हम देख सकते हैं, जिनको पढ़ना आता होगा, अरबी या फारसी या उर्दू जो पढ़ सकते हैं, दिस इज बिस्मिल्लाह रहमान रहीम, जो इस्लाम में कहा जाता है, in the name of the most gracious and the most merciful, the Lord. ये लिखा है बिस्मिल्लाह रहमान रहीम, right under the painting of Lord Ganesha. Okay? और गणेश जी का भी आप डिपिक्शन देख सकते हैं with रिद्धि and सिद्धि. Alright? His two companions. So this is from the Persian translation of the Mahabharata, originally written by the sage Ved Vyas. Interestingly, the text is described as an itihas. Okay? Within early Sanskrit tradition, the literal meaning of the term is thus it was. इतिहास ऐसे का ऐसा था, ठीक है, उसे इतिहास की संज्ञा या डेफिनेशन दी जाती है. Alright? This literal meaning of thus is was, which is why it is generally translated as history. Was there a real war that was remembered in the epic? क्या ये war सच में हुई थी? आज तक लोगों को हम यूट्यूब पे देख सकते हैं, कई सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म्स में, कि सच में महाभारत हुई थी या नहीं, कुरुक्षेत्र की मिट्टी आज भी लाल है, यू नो सच थिंग्स. सो क्या सच में हुआ था? लेट अस सी द आंसर टू दिस. वी आर नॉट श्योर. Some historians think that the memory of an actual conflict amongst kinfolk was preserved in the narrative. Others point out that there is no other corroborative evidence of the battle. दो पक्ष हैं, एक पक्ष कहता है कि सच में हुआ था, एक पक्ष कहता है कि कोई एविडेंस नहीं, कोई corroborative solidified evidence नहीं है of such a battle happening at such a larger scale. All right? Authors and dates. Basically, who wrote the text? ये जो टेक्स्ट है, जो इतना वाइडली यूज्ड, अंडरस्टूड, रेड एंड कॉम्प्रिहेंडेड थ्रू आउट द कंट्री इवन टुडे, फ्रॉम द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, की हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर से लेकर के बड़े बड़े डिग्निटरीज, मिनिस्टर्स भी इस पे इतना ज्यादा एम्फोसाइज करते हैं. व्हाट इज द रीजन बिहाइंड इट? दिस इज अ क्वेश्चन टू विच देयर आर सेवरल आंसर्स. कि किसने टेक्स्ट लिखा? द ओरिजिनल स्टोरी वाज प्रोबेबली composed by chariotabads known as sutas, who generally accompanied Kshatriya warriors to the battlefield and composed poems celebrating their victories and other achievements. मॉडर्न डे में आप समझने के लिए कह सकते हैं, जैसे एक राजा के ड्राइवर जो होते थे, सारथी होते थे, चैरियटर्स होते थे, उन्होंने ये टेल क्या कहते हैं कंपोज करी. इसका आइडिया या फिर इसकी इंस्पिरेशन यहां से ड्रॉ होती है, बिकॉज दे ऑलवेज अकम्पनीड देयर किंग्स और देयर मास्टर्स wherever they went for war or anything else. All right? So, we move forward. These compositions circulated orally, यानी कि मौखिक रूप से. श्रुति, as mentioned in Sanskrit, Shruti and Smriti. Smriti written, Shruti is spoken. All right? Then, from the 5th century BC, Brahmins took over the story and began to commit it to writing. धीरे धीरे ब्राह्मण्स ने इस स्टोरी को अडॉप्ट किया, इसमें अपना इंटरेस्ट और अपना टाइम इन्वेस्ट करके इसको एक स्मृति में कंपाइल किया, which changed from it being totally oral, an oral tale, to something that was recorded and penned down in history. All right? This was the time when chiefdoms such as that of the Kurus, Panchals, around whom the story of the epic revolves, were gradually becoming kingdoms. अब ऐसा तो नहीं है जो बाकी historians who argue that whether such a war happened or not. Well, for one, we do know that at least the kingdoms were real. They were not fake. These names are not made up. ये kingdoms सच में उस टाइम पे थे, जो exist करते थे, and that is something that we see now. Did the new kings want their इतिहास to be recorded and preserved more systematically? ये सवाल भी उठता है इसमें. It is also possible that the upheavals that often accompanied the establishment of these states where old social values were often replaced by new norms are reflected in some parts of the story. Okay? तो बेसिकली जो पुराने सोशल नॉर्म्स हैं उनके बदले में नए सोशल नॉर्म्स आ रहे हैं, ये भी महाभारत में देखने को मिलता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, फॉर दोज हु हैव एटलीस्ट वॉच्ड महाभारत और इवन हर्ड अबाउट इट, नो इवन अ लिटिल अबाउट इट, उनको ये पता होगा कि महाभारत में काफी सारे रूल्स ब्रेक करे गए थे थ्रू द प्रोटैगनिस्ट्स एंड द सेल्फ प्रोक्लेम्ड गॉड दैट इज कृष्णा इन द स्टोरी एज वेल. कृष्णा ने भी काफी रूल्स ब्रेक करे हैं. सो बेसिकली हम एक पैटर्न देखते हैं. पुराने सोशल नॉर्म्स जो अनएक्सेप्टेबल या वॉइड हैं इन दैट पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट इन टाइम व्हेन महाभारत वाज रिटन, तब भी काफी नॉर्म्स चेंज हो रहे थे. दैट इज ऑल्सो समथिंग दैट वी नोटिस. ऑलराइट? सो वी नोटिस अनदर फेज in the composition of the text between 200 BC and 200 Common Era, somewhere between that roughly. This was the period when the worship of Vishnu was growing in importance, and Krishna, one of the most important figures of the epic, was coming to be identified with Vishnu. Vishnu, a deity in Hindu faith and textures, was being worshipped a lot in these days. Krishna, जो कि एक टाइम पे पैदा हुए थे, उनको सडनली विष्णु से एसोसिएट करने लग गए थे एज एन इनकारनेशन. ओके, सो subsequently between 200 and 400 Common Era, after that, large didactic sections resembling the Manusmriti were also added. Manusmriti जैसे didactic sections भी add होने लग गए थे इस टाइम पे. With these additions, a text which initially perhaps had less than 10,000 verses grew to comprise about 100,000 verses. ठीक है, सडन जंप 10,000 से सीधा 1,00,000 वर्सेस तक, इतने श्लोक हो चुके थे. Okay, now this enormous composition is traditionally attributed to a sage named Vedvyas. All right, महर्षि वेदव्यास जिनका नाम बताया गया है. So महाभारत में धीरे धीरे didactic sections, stories and something that was supposed to be learned from was also added up during the time of Vyas, from 10,000 to 1,00,000 directly. So the search for convergence. अब यहाँ convergence हमें कहाँ देखने को मिलता है, ये मिलन या संगम कहाँ देखने को मिलता है, वो हम अभी पढ़ेंगे. The Mahabharata, like any other major epic, contains vivid descriptions of battles, forests, palaces and settlements. Vivid यानी कि इतना ज्यादा without a doubt, with clarity, ऐसे मेंशन किया गया है कि it is extremely clear that the battle was going on, each and every single minute detail of how the war was being fought at that time has been mentioned. Okay, in 1951 to 1952, the archaeologist B.B. Lal excavated a village named Hastinapur in Meerut, Uttar Pradesh, which is in present-day UP. Was this the Hastinapur of the epic? While the similarity in names could be coincidental, the location of the site in the Upper Ganga Doab, where the Kuru kingdom was situated, suggests that it may have been the capital of the Kurus as mentioned in the texts. So scientists finally come to this conclusion कि ये वही विलेज था जिसके बारे में बात हो रही थी, of the Kuru lineage. All right. Lal found evidence of 5 occupational levels, of which the second and third are of interest to us. How? This is what Lal noted about the houses in the second phase, which is from the 12th to 17th centuries BCE. Within the limited area excavated, no definite plans of houses were obtained. Okay, but walls of mud and mud bricks, अगर आप recall कर पा रहे हो तो Mohenjo-daro and Indus Valley civilization, burnt bricks, mud bricks, how the architecture was like, might ring a bell. Okay, sorry. So mud bricks were duly encountered. The discovery of mud plaster with prominent reed marks suggested that some of the houses had reed walls plastered over with mud. For the third phase, जो तीसरा phase है 6th से लेकर के 3rd century BC, he noted houses of this period were built of mud brick as well as burnt bricks. Soakage jars and brick drains were used for draining out refuse water, while terracotta ring wells may have been used both as wells and drainage pits. Okay. तो ये मड ब्रिक्स के यूज के जो फेजेस हैं, दिस इज समथिंग दैट वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड ओवर हियर एंड मार्क एज वेल इंपॉर्टेंट. सो ये जो कन्वर्जेंस है, वेदर द महाभारत एक्चुअली हैपेंड और नॉट, द कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ द हाउसेस, किस मटेरियल से घर बन रहे थे उस टाइम पे, क्या एविडेंसेस मिले थे ड्यूरिंग द फर्स्ट एंड द सेकेंड फेज, 12th to 13th सेंचुरी बीसी, फिर थर्ड 6th से लेकर के 3rd सेंचुरी बीसी में जो डिफरेंस, एक्सक्यूज मी, जो हमें डिफरेंस देखने को मिलता है विद द यूज ऑफ मड ब्रिक्स is something to be noticed here, because this indicates towards the presence or the actual happening of the event of such a war. How was the description of this city in the epic added after the main narrative had been composed? When, which is after the 6th century BC, urban centers flourished in the region? Another question. Or was it a flight of poetic fantasy, which cannot be verified by comparisons with other kinds of evidence? अब एक थ्योरी ये भी है कि ये एक बेसिकली पोएटिक एड-ऑन्स भी हो सकते हैं, so that people can understand this tale even better, or there would have been an actual war, an actual series of events that happened during that time. For example, consider another instance. One of the most challenging episodes in the Mahabharata is Draupadi's marriage with the Pandavas, an instance of polyandry. Polyandry, let me just write the definition right here, where woman has more than one husband. ओके, एक से ज्यादा पति हों, उस सोसाइटी को पॉलीएंड्री कहा जाता है. ऑलराइट, when one woman has many husbands. That is central to the narrative. If we examine the section of the epic that describes this event, it is evident that the authors attempted to explain it in a variety of different ways. How? सबसे पहले हम ये हस्तिनापुर का पढ़ेंगे, आदि पर्वन from the Adi Parvan of the Mahabharata. What does it say? The city bursting like the ocean, packed with hundreds of mansions, displayed with its gateways, arches and turrets like massing clouds, the splendor of the great Indra's city, Indraprasth, henceforth the name. All right, द्रौपदीज मैरिज. अब हम यहां पर आते हैं. अ वॉल एक्सकवेटेड एट हस्तिनापुर, जो बर्न्ड ब्रिक्स की हिस्टोरियन वीबी लाल बात कर रहे थे. This is something that can be seen here in this picture. So, in the case of Draupadi's marriage, as mentioned in Mahabharata, Drupad, the king of Panchal, organized a competition where the challenge was to string a bow and hit a target. The winner would be chosen to marry his daughter Draupadi. Arjun was victorious and was garlanded by Draupadi. शादी हो गई थी स्वयंवर में. सबने वो स्टोरी सुनी है that अर्जुन को नीचे पानी में देखना पड़ा था, ऊपर घूमती हुई मछली के रिफ्लेक्शन पे, और फिर देख करके उसने एरो शूट किया था और वो सीधा मछली के आंख पे लगी थी, जो उसका फिगर घूम रहा था थ्रू द रिफ्लेक्शन जो उसने देखा था. एंड एज ही वाज सक्सेसफुल इन दैट, ही मैरिड द्रौपदी. ये जो स्वयंवर वाली प्रथा है, और दिस पर्टिकुलर रिचुअल ऑफ द डॉटर बीइंग एबल टू एक्चुअली फॉर द मैरिज, a contest being organized where display of strength or skill or wit depending upon different situations, as mentioned in these two stories of Mahabharata and Ramayana, could have been a common practice amongst the royals, amongst the kingship. ओके बहुत कॉमन हो सकता है कि बेटियों की, अपनी राजकुमारियों की शादी के लिए बहुत सारे स्वयंवर कराते रहे हों। महाभारत में भी हमें इसका मेंशन मिलता है, रामायण में भी मिलता है, चाहे वो माता सीता का स्वयंवर हो या फिर द्रौपदी का। ऑलराइट, द पांडवास रिटर्न्ड विद हर टू देयर मदर कुंती, who even before saw them asked them to share whatever they had got. Okay, she realized her mistake when she saw Draupadi, but her command could not be violated. After much deliberation, Yudhishthir decided that Draupadi would be their common wife. When Drupad was told about this, he protested. However, the seer Vyas, very important, ये part जो है story का, seer Vyas arrived and told him that the Pandavas were in reality incarnations of Indra, whose wife had been reborn as Draupadi, and they were thus destined for each other. Okay. Vyas added that in another instance, a young woman had prayed to Shiva for her husband, and in her enthusiasm had prayed 5 times instead of 1. This woman was now reborn as Draupadi, and Shiva had fulfilled her prayers. Convinced by these stories, Drupad consented to the marriage. तो जब हम यहाँ पे एक्चुअली अथॉरिटी देखिए, समथिंग दैट वी कैन नोटिस हियर, अथॉरिटी। right here. Authority of the seer or the sage, who of course belonged to which class or the strata of the society? Brahman. So it was after the convincing of the seer Ved Vyas that basically Drupad, the king, had agreed to the terms and conditions laid down during his daughter's marriage. Now here we see a case of polyandry, ठीक है, जो कि बहुत अनकॉमन था and was also frowned upon by what? The Manusmriti. Manusmriti condemned this. This was undesirable and was not permitted at the time. इस चीज की इजाजत या अनुमति ancient texts, not only Manusmriti but also Dharma Sutras and the Dharma Shastras, various other scriptures at that point in time also discussed about this. Basically, it was frowned upon by each and every strata of the society. अब जब हम यहाँ पे देखते हैं आदि पर्वन के जो क्या कहते हैं डिफरेंट स्टोरीज में भी, सो व्हाट इंद्र सिटी और इंद्रप्रस्थ का भी जो डिपिक्शन हमें देखने को मिलता है, इट्स क्वाइट अ बस्लिंग सिटी जहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा ट्रेड, कॉमर्स, बिजनेस, मर्चेंट्स की प्रेजेंस बहुत ज़्यादा थी. नाउ मर्चेंट्स एज बीइंग वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट units of the society at that time, contributing largely to the exchange of trade happening with different cities. The Brahmanical texts always emphasized on the oneness or basically the closely binding up of one society. Long story short, जो एक civilization या जो एक वैदिक फोल्ड है, जो 4 वर्ण का सिस्टम है, उसके आउटसाइड जो भी बिलोंग करता था वो आउटकास्ट था, म्लेच्छ था, या फिर कोई ऐसी जाति की उसे नाम दे दिया जाता था, यूजुअली म्लेच्छ, बारबेरियन, आउटकास्ट एटसेट्रा, who were considered to be untouchables. All right, like the Chandals, they were at the bottommost part of the hierarchy, whereas some others like the Swarnkars fell outside the system. जो particular system था 4 वर्ण का, उसके बाहर स्वर्णकार, goldsmiths, or even for the matter of fact artisans, craftsmen fell outside this particular category. But the difference in the treatment between these two was also something very evident at that time. So, up until now, we have studied how basically the society was like in the Vedic period, the emergence of Buddhism, Buddhist philosophies, Sutta Pitaka and the Jataka tales, what they told about and what their views were on righteousness, dharma, and basically who were considered to be undesirable according to the Vedic fold. किसको उतना desirable नहीं माना जाता था. Rakshas, Asur, etc. These terms also we came across. So this was the third part of your third chapter of class 12th NCERT History, Themes in Indian History, Kinship, Caste and Class. So we'll be completing this chapter in the coming parts. Till then, keep the timeline intact, the series of events, and revise the chapter as much as possible and look at it in a story point of way. Thank you, Team Educate.